Did you know that you can find triangles all around the world? Here are triangular pyramids in Egypt. Here's a triangular pyramid that was built in Paris in front of the famous museum, the Louvre. There's even ghost stories about the Bermuda Triangle, right here from Puerto Rico to Florida to Bermuda, where mysterious things have always happened. Let's learn some more about triangles. Here's an example of different types of triangles. Notice a triangle has 3 sides and 3 angles, because tri means 3. So here we have a triangle, right? And we can move the different points or vertices A, B, and C. If we classify the triangle as a scalene means that it has no equal sides and no equal angles. An isosceles means there's 2 equal sides and 2 equal angles. And notice when I adjust this one, that it stays to where 2 of them are always the same. An equilateral triangle means that they are all the same size and all the same angle. A right triangle means that we always have a 90-degree angle. So no matter how we move it, no matter what the lengths are, we always have a 90-degree angle. Acute, remember that acute means all angles are less than 90 degrees. And you can see that as we move it, no matter what happens, they all stay less than 90 degrees. Obtuse, meaning that it's more than 90 degrees, but it can be 91, and it can get really, really wide, but it never goes less than 90. When classifying triangles, there's lots of different ways that you can classify them. Triangles have lots of attributes. Attributes are sort of like characteristics for triangles. It's things that make them different from other ones. We can classify triangles by the sides of the triangles or by the angles inside of a triangle. Let's first look at the lengths or the sides of angles. Here in an equilateral triangle, we have all 3 sides the same length and all the angles are the same. So an equilateral triangle, okay, think of equal as equilateral. They're all equal. In a scalene triangle, you can think of that one as sort of silly. A silly scalene. A silly scalene triangle has 0 sides that are the same and 0 angles that are the same. I know this was hard to read, but it's isosceles. And it's spelled ISOSCELES. Isosceles. Isosceles triangle has 2 of the same sides and 2 of the same angles. So if you think of that, it starts with I. On a play of words, you have 2 eyes. So think of I, okay? You have 2 eyes, so 2 sides the same. We can then look at angles, the angles of a triangle. And the inside, each triangle has 3 angles. If all 3 angles are acute, meaning less than 90 degrees, it is called an acute triangle. But remember that all 3 of them have to be smaller than 90 degrees. In a right triangle means that it has 1 right angle, a right angle equaling 90 degrees. Okay? It doesn't matter what the other 2 are. As long as one of them's right, the whole thing is considered a right triangle. Same with obtuse. In an obtuse triangle, obtuse means more than 90 degrees. If one of them is obtuse, meaning one of them is more than 90 degrees, the whole thing is considered obtuse. In order to become a master at classifying triangles and angles, you need to be able to classify each one of these angles, whether they're obtuse, acute, right, or straight. And then you also need to be able to look at triangles and classify it by its angles and sides. So, for example, number 11, because this is 114 degrees, that angle is obtuse, meaning this is an obtuse triangle. But to classify it by its sides, these little hash marks mean that these sides are the same measurement. And this one does not have a tag, so that means it's different, meaning that this would be an obtuse isosceles triangle. Take a moment and look at the other triangles and see if you can classify them by their angles and by their sides.